Welcome, everybody. A few of you have already said happy Friday. We're so excited that you're here with us to take this overview of the LICC Family Engagement Toolkit. My name is Terry Layton, and some of you may have interacted with me. I recognize some of the names. Over the last couple of years, as we've done this preschool development grant with the North Carolina Infant Toddler Program, and this has been one of our initiatives. So it's a fairly new tool, and I'm joined with Carolina Hunter, and she is going to give you a little tour today. And so I'm going to turn it over to Carolina, and I'll just be watching the chat in case there are questions that come up. But otherwise, enjoy the show.
Thanks, Terry. So good, afternoon now to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. As Terry said, I am Carolina Hunter. I am one of the newer staff members at ECAC, so I'm not as lucky to be as familiar with most of you as Terry is. I am our early intervention lead / parent educator. And today I'm really just excited to be able to present to you our LICC, our toolkit, and hopefully give you some helpful tips, resources, and information that you guys can bring back with you. I'm going to start off actually by asking you all, has anyone ever used our toolkit or seen it? You can go ahead and put your answers in the chat if that's helpful to you. Awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that you haven't seen it, but it's actually great that you'll be able to see it now. Oh, okay, there we go. We got a yes. So I'm going to try to kind of make this a little interactive with you guys. So I'll be asking you guys some questions. If you have questions, also feel free to kind of just pop them in the chat as well. If I don't know the answer, I have Terry kind of, like she said, she's looking over our chat as well. But I really kind of want to be able to hear what you all are doing, maybe what you feel like you're needing, those types of things. So let's get started. So this toolkit was designed to provide tips and resources for really interacting with families and really just building those essential building blocks for you guys with families and that really big family engagement piece. So why is family engagement crucial to having a successful LICC? Why do you all think that family engagement is so important? It's a big question. Feel free to put your answers in the chat. The village mentality, supporting families when you live. Absolutely. Families need to feel they're supported. A+ for all of you. Yep, families are the experts on the services. Well, that's literally what we have in here. So when families are recognized as partners, organizations, they're going to achieve better outcomes for the children, right? That's pretty much a lot of what you all said. Now you're tasked with child find and public awareness activities, community needs assessments, and system evaluations for birth to 5 years old for the early intervention systems in North Carolina, right? And I'm sure a lot more too. Now, how can the LICCs accomplish this? Like one of you actually said, include the experts, right? Include the families. They are the ones that use these systems, the early intervention systems. They know what works, but they also know what doesn't work. They have the connections with other families. They know other resources, other networks. It takes a village. So a lot of these families know of resources that some have never even heard of. they're also going to bring in that real world understanding. So instead of really telling families what they need, which is, I think, what happens a lot of the times, families are telling us what they need and what they're struggling with and all of that. They also are going to bring new perspectives and new ideas that you might not have even thought of. Now, we're going to also be able to give you this. We're going to be sending you this link as well. But even on here, we have a video that Terry's beautiful face is on. And this is just kind of like about promoting family engagement and the importance of it, right? And we spoke with several families in reference to kind of like how that family engagement has helped them. And yep, there's that link. Now, here we go. Has anyone ever, let me move this over, seen this before? You can put this in the chat. If not, that's, and if you haven't, that's perfectly fine. The Family Engagement and Leadership Framework. Okay, well, this is actually a really great resource for you guys to have. It's the Family Engagement and Leadership in Early Childhood Systems. Oh, good. So yes, we do have it. We have some yeses in there. That's awesome, Allison. So as you can see, let me see if you all can, yep. And there we go. Terry actually put the link in there for you guys as well, which, so you can pull it up if it's easier for you to see. So there's the vision here is for North Carolina's birth to 5 early childhood systems, for them to be family centered, equitable, and really serving children in the context of their families and their communities. The mission here would be for agencies to align strategies to engage and learn from the adults in a child's life, right? And to support practitioners to build knowledge and skills to really engage families and treat them as partners. Families are then empowered to be better advocates for their children themselves, and really the systems improve. So you can see on the outside here, you're going to have the conditions for success. Give me 1 second. Can you see that? Is that, I hope that's better for you guys. So the conditions for success are going to be being family-centered, collaborative, transparent, and equity-driven, right? Now, on the middle part here, you're going to see the systems components. So these are really the pieces that kind of all work together to make this all work. So you're going to have the policies, regulations, and standards, the infrastructure and funding, continuous learning and quality improvement, workforce professional development, the state, regional, and community partners, and the family educational management. So all of these pieces really are what work together to get this centerpiece here to be impacted and positively, right? So you can see it's broken into 3 pieces. You have the community and system, you're going to have the families and how it affects the child as well, right? So for the community and systems, I'm not going to obviously read these all to you, but that's going to impact family partnerships, community partnerships, informed leaders. You're going to have more informed leaders in this. As for families, it's going to affect the family's well-being. Families are going to become, really, they're going to be learners and then teachers. So they'll be able to really spread what they know and what have learned. They become co-creators as well. And then as for the child, that child is going to be safe, healthy, and well. They're going to be learning and developing. They're going to be ready for school and really successful in school and in life. That's the ultimate goal. Now we're going to move on to the family engagement continuum. And you'll see, so this is really what the ECAC is working towards, right? Our families and parents that come to us, we want them to not just be a piece here that you can see like that they're involved. That's great for them to be involved, but we want a little bit more than that, right? You want your families, like many of you said, to become leaders. So it's not just the involvement and for them to be engaged. That's a great piece, but we want them to be able to, like it says there, to be a change agent. They're not just the recipient at the end. We want them to be a partner in this with you guys and be a change agent at the end of the day for that. Now, our guiding principles. So what does family engagement and leadership look like? What should it look like, right? You want to have responsive relationships. So that means families are going to experience responsive relationships with the people who work with them, in which family story and partnership is valued. So you work together and you really build that partnership. Shared decisions. So families are equal partners with you, right? You want to be able to share those decisions between you and them, hear them out, listen to what they need. Welcoming environments. You want your families to feel that you want to create a space that's welcoming for them, a safe space for them, because many of these families, they don't know where to begin. They have no idea where to start. By this point, many of them are just kind of facing the realities of, whether it's their child diagnosis or anything like that. And they just they're looking for that safe space where they can get this information and everything that they need as well. Now, communication. So communication, which is a two-way street. So you want to be able to understand what they're saying, and then for them to also understand what you're saying as well, right? It's important for you to have that open communication, and in that way, you're both learning more and working together. Now, advocacy. Families are empowered to advocate for themselves and their communities. The more you work together, the more you feel that you can empower them to be better advocates also for their children. Program planning. So families help with the planning and improvement process of programs. They are the ones that are in this, right? So it's a great thing to really have them in helping in this planning process. And accountability. So partner organizations are held accountable on how well they include families in their self-assessment and planning. You all, especially in the chat, it seems like you're very on top of the importance of how it is to have these families involved, right? And it's also it's important for you to be accountable and knowing how to get that done and how to make them feel more included in this as well. Now, how do agencies support family engagement and leadership? You help this by being, you can see, more family-centered. Prioritize engaging families as partners. That's a big piece. Make sure that they know that this is family-centered. You're working towards something together. Equity-driven. We want to be able to make it a priority to understand families' experiences and really break down those barriers created by structural and individual racism and other types of discrimination. Let them know that, you understand and you're really working for that equity. Collaborative. Agencies make program decisions with, not for families. So that's a big piece, right? Because you can't make decisions for other families or for these families without really understanding and knowing what they're needing. So allow them to be part of the decision making. And again, it's transparency. Agencies ensure families have access to the information and supports that make it possible for them to fully participate and influence agency at system level, change processes. So be as transparent as you need to be. It's better to be honest than to hide something. That's how I see it. And there's a link here also that we'll be sending you guys in case you really want to see the complete framework and action guide link, which is, we'll be able to send that to you as well at the end. So preparing professional participants for family engagement. How do you set the stage for successful family engagement? Now, North Carolina is focused on increasing parent involvement. Is there anything that you all are doing, in your agencies or in your locations to kind of set the stage for them to come in and really get families more involved? Feel free to put that in the chat. I'll give you all a minute or so because I'm sure it's not just a one-liner. So Carrie says she created a document called Who's Who at the Wake LIC. That's awesome. So buy-in from leadership is crucial. Thank you, Terry. We now have a family engagement and leadership coalition, and we're able to add a parent to it. That's great. Engage families with. Yep. So if professionals do not believe families are just as essential as every other member on the LICC, families are going to feel that, and they're not going to want to work with them. You know, I myself, I say, as a parent of a child with a disability, my son was very young when he was diagnosed with autism. I could tell who wanted to help us and who didn't want to, you know, who wanted to work with us and where we were wanted and where we weren't. The transparency it's important to have that, right? And you want people that on your LICC and members that are really there for that mission to want to help and want to work with them. So talk about benefits and welcome concerns. Identify why members may feel uncomfortable working with families. You know, sometimes it is difficult for new members to come in and they don't really know how to start, what to do. So really, you want to be able to provide opportunities for that non-judgmental discussion with those new members coming in. Share resources related to other systems to ensure that everyone understands that family engagement is encouraged and not just at a community level, but at all levels, and provides a multitude of benefits. The Early Childhood Technical Assistance Center, which many of you I'm sure know, the ECTA, it has a series that offers some great information on this topic. Now, another great thing is provide training on successful family engagement. A lot of times new members come in and they don't know where to begin. We've heard in many cases, I feel like recently, that it's hard to keep members. So is there anything that you all are doing to maybe get new members on board? Are you having some difficulty with keeping members? We've been hearing a lot about things like that lately. Is there anything, do you have kind of like maybe like a training book or something that you have where a new member comes in and it has all this information for them? Yep. And also, when we send this, I know Terry gave you guys a link, but we'll also be sending this to you in an email. All of these underlined phrases right here, they're actually hyperlinks, and they're going to take you to resources that we name as we're going along as well. So one thing you want to do is you want to examine how your LICC is performing with family engagement by using different tools. These are just some of them. And like I said, these are all different hyperlinks. So these all have different tools on really how you can examine the performance of your own LICC. Okay, Carrie said, we are all volunteers and we struggle to keep momentum and maintaining connections with interested. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard. You want to be able to provide guidance on how to address concerns and conflict, knowing the difference between listening for understanding and listening to respond is incredibly important and a key part of really good communication, not just kind of like in these situations, but I think in general, a lot of times we're very programmed to kind of like, we listen, well, we're sort of listening and then we just kind of respond. But it's important to really hear what these families are saying to you, take that in, and then kind of process that and see what can be done, right? To help. It's a really big part of the communication piece. Stress the value in and differing opinions and points of view. Not everyone is going to see things the same way, and that's completely okay. One great thing also that you can do is determine or make somebody a point person. So someone in your LICC, let's say, that's that one point person that's going to be welcoming families to the meetings, and review the agenda. So, with the families, you want to have that one person that's that familiar face they see. And if you are able to have that, of course, that person can answer any questions and really just ensure that families are understanding the whole meeting process. Just move down so you can see this. So one really important thing to take note of is a lot of these families, and I'm sure you all too, they work, right? And as working for the LICC, you are receiving some sort of reimbursement or payment, right, for being here. And these families, they're taking time out of their day to be able to attend these meetings to help in being partners. So you really want to try to create a reimbursement guidance policy. Like I said, you want to remember that these families, they want to be treated just like every other professional who attends. And most professionals are paid to attend these meetings. So families should really be compensated as well. So it'd be good to have some sort of payment methods already available, and hopefully that can be something that's not going to be like a very long month's wait. Let's see, hold on, we have a comment in here. Wake LICC participated in the PDG. During that time, we had LICC members attend family supports, events, groups that already existed. We went to them rather than they come to us. That's awesome. And if you're able to, that would be a great leadership opportunity for a family and a great way to model that families are partners. The contact your point person, that is. Yeah, that's great, Stacy. And Kelly too, yeah. So we do provide stipend for our families. That's important. That should be into that budget, because a lot of these families that are coming, they have 2, 3, 4 jobs, right? That's another thing also that we have kind of on this list. Take into consideration maybe the times that you're having your meetings. If so many of these families are working in the day, then maybe have your meetings after 5 or 6 if possible. Maybe ask them what times are best for them. What's their schedule like? That communication is key. So then that way, it's not just something else to put on top of like the crazy day in the day. Maybe it could be something where your meetings are also virtual meetings, if you're able to have that option as well, right? That's a really good, helpful thing too. Let's see. Teresa said at LICC meetings, parents are provided gas cards or Amazon gift cards. And that, I think that's helpful for families too, right? Like they want to be there to support and help and work with you, but also we don't want them to feel like their time is being wasted. So that's great. Those are all really great things. It would be helpful to know how other groups are managed. Yep. So if anyone else has any other things that they're using, I think that would be, like Harry said, it would be great to know what other groups are doing, because it might actually be something that can work for them as well, right? This is kind of like, it's not just for you guys to get information from us, but also to be able to get information within yourselves that I think will be really great for you all. Yeah, those are great answers. This is, another really big thing here too. It says, decide who needs to be at the table to accurately represent the population of your county. Consider things such as race, culture, gender, language, geographic location, etc. Don't forget to include plans for accommodations for language differences. So I give the example, I mentioned a lot of you, I think there was like 2 of you, I saw that said Rocky Mount. So I live in Bailey, which is kind of like in the middle of nowhere. No one's heard of it ever. And it's a very, it's mostly farmlands, it's agriculture. There's a lot of Hispanic people where I live, right? And it's really important to be able to have like meetings at least close to where I am maybe a Spanish translator, right? Or some sort of Spanish speaker. Maybe if I have any written documents or anything that I'm handing out, maybe to make sure that I have those in Spanish as well. Those are all, they're little things, but they make a huge difference. And I think it really helps. Let's see. Dina, all of our monies are handled through the Partnership Smart Start agency. Oh, that's awesome. Connie said, we combined our LICC with another early education group. So our meeting covers a number of topics and our parents share information and resources. We have given parents a stipend as well. That's awesome. So here we go to really brainstorm ideas of how families can contribute to the work of the LICC. What is lacking in your LICC? Are you unable to find children? Are you looking for more ideas on events? Do you want to improve outreach? What do you guys feel is, I mean, the best way to put it is lacking? What are you needing? Is there anything that you guys feel that you're needing more ideas on? Is there something you're needing maybe more assistance with trying to figure out how to improve your outreach? What's everybody kind of struggling with, I guess I would ask. And feel free to put that in the chat as well. It's hard because I don't see your faces. It probably would be next time maybe easier to find a way to unmute you. I know some of the LICCs that I've spoken with and have heard, they say that it's hard to kind of keep members. I'll give you guys a minute. So Susan says, we struggle with participation of professionals and finding families to join us. Where is it that you're located again, Susan? And if someone would actually, if anybody wants to kind of express more of what they're going through, we can definitely unmute you. So Susan, if you would like to be the one, we can definitely unmute you, and that way you can kind of explain to us what's been going on. You let me know if you're okay with that. I don't want to put you on the spot. All righty, Terry, can you unmute Susan? Child find events can be spread out throughout the year, and if there is no event to plan for.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we had kind of a hiatus during COVID, and so we're struggling to get back going. We've been going for about a year, and I'm in the Rocky Mount area, Nash, Edgecombe counties. We generally have meetings with about 4 or 5 professionals, and we keep trying to build that, but everybody's schedule is so crazy. It makes it very difficult.
Yeah.
With it. So that's something that we struggle with, is getting good participation with it.
Yeah, because in that area, it's a little tough too. I live in it, so I definitely know. Is anyone else having issues with similar things? Thank you for sharing that, Susan.
Sure.
So Allison says, from the parent perspective, how would parents of children under the LICC target demographic or find out about what's offered aside from our local partnerships for children? Johnson County. Okay, Kelly says, I was just going to say COVID sort of stopped. Yeah, LICC with parents and partners, and we are just now rebuilding, but doing outreach through health departments and school systems, as well as other community partners. Tina says, we in Jones. You sure can, Terry.
Hey, so I just wanted to answer Allison's question because that's a really good question. How do you find parents to participate on an LICC? And so I would say use your network. You're all or many of you are service providers. So, like, yeah, you would potentially talk to the folks that you're specifically serving. What did you say? Your local partnership. And so there's probably CDSA folks on your LICC, and they are serving kiddos. And there may be therapists on the LICC, and they're serving kiddos. So um, you know, if you're interacting with families and they seem somewhat outspoken, or they have seen an injustice and they've talked to you or someone on your LICC and they just seem like they really want to get involved and help. Those are the folks that I would tap on the shoulder and say, hey, we've got this group of people that meet and talk about how to get in touch with families and bring the, identify whether their kiddo has a disability or maybe having a challenge with developmentally. And, because oftentimes it's the parents who say, I don't want to see that happen to somebody else. Like, I didn't know about early intervention until it was almost time to go to preschool or kindergarten, and I missed out, and I don't want that to happen to other families. So those are the families that you want to get involved and say, hey, come help. We've got this group. We're thought partners. We're trying to figure out how to do this together. That's how I would try and recruit families. And I know the chat has been going nuts, so we have to catch back up with that.
I think
But
Carrie she asked if she could be unmuted. She has some great ideas. Carrie McCarthy Adams.
okay, let me find Carrie. Here we go. And I'm gonna.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you said great ideas. What I have are the ideas that we've come up with. And as we all know, our state varies so drastically from area to area. So for us, this is what has been working for us so far. So during COVID, we actually thrived online as a community of providers because we were connecting with each other during those very, very tough times. So I think we took advantage of that. And now it's gone down a bit because people are just so incredibly busy and still trying to recover. So this group especially, I've really wished to connect with a group like this and even make it a regular quarterly, let's get on and share unrecorded, here's what we're doing. Because this who's who that I created, that was based off of a lot of the work that you guys have seen from Moms Rising and how to engage and how close are you to the topic. So are you a parent currently experience it? Are you a professional who doesn't have direct connection with families? And so we as a group really looked at who we have at the table already. And then we said, okay, if you are coming from, say, an organization, an agency, and you are working directly with families, who could you bring just as a guest to a meeting so that you have that direct connection with someone that you already know is in a place to potentially at least come and expose them to Wake LICC. So for this year, what I propose to our group is we have a pattern of meetings, and yes, we are still online at a non-friendly time of 12 to 1:30, but where goal is we're going to meet virtually, say September, October, November, and by November or December, we're going to do an in-person at the Wake County Smart Start. So in other words, we have a couple meetings to build up a group and connect and bring in some families potentially, and then have them actually come in person. Again, maybe November, maybe December, we have to decide. And then again, start again in the spring and do January online, February, March, and then April or May, do an in-person. So we have a chance to potentially have people have a soft start virtually,
Yeah.
building up to an in-person. So that's our goal this year. That's the first time we're doing that. But it's because we've had such a consistent online group, but we want opportunities for people to see each other face to face as we did pre-pandemic.
Yeah. And honestly, that time, like Terry even said, it's not a terrible time because it's not like you're also asking the families to come in. You're also doing it virtually. I think that also makes it a lot easier for someone to kind of just be able to step in, take that hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, and kind of just see what's going on. That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yep. I think we all noticed that too. Many of you are saying that the LICC stalled during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even the
we
state ICC kind of struggled during the pandemic. And with the Part C coordinator moving on to a new role, they're in an interim phase right now and trying to rebuild the state ICC. So I think probably many of you were looking for support from the state and just not hearing back from them. And it looks like, and who knows, because they are governor appointed positions on the state ICC, how long it will take. But it seems like they are trying to rebuild the state ICC as well and become more active again. So if you are struggling and looking for support from the state, just know that they are working on it and trying to get themselves back up and running as well. But I would encourage those of you who are here and kind of chatting with each other through the webinar chat, try to connect outside of this webinar and see if you can support each other. It sounded like some of you are already working with each other and trying to do that. So those are opportunities to use this network for what it's meant to be used for. And also, not to steal Carolina's show, but we do have another conference for LICC members coming up in September, which on Monday we'll be sending out another registration reminder about that. So if you are looking for more networking opportunities, we'll go ahead and send that out to you and you can get registered. And I see that we have a hand up again. Hang on a second.
Carrie, I believe.
Carrie, where is she in my list? There she is. There we go. Carrie, you're able to unmute now.
So I'll be very honest. The thought of getting together as a group excites me. Organizing another thing does not. In other words, that's right there. I can't even put on my plate organizing another, you start a round of emails and you say, so that's why I'm actually putting this out to you guys, whether it's Carolina or whoever. I know you guys do a lot of work, but if you really want to see this continue, could there be something that ECAC says, we're going to put 2 dates on the calendar, networking for people involved with developing family engagement in their local LICCs. And it's not recorded. It's us just coming to the table twice a year, maybe. And I would be thrilled if you guys would even consider taking that on, because the thought of starting, a multiple email and saying, when can you meet? When can you? I think I'd cry. And I wouldn't want to do it.
I hear you. Yeah. So let me take that back to my supervisors. The PDG work is going to end at the end of September. So that was where the funding for a lot of this work came from. But we do have a lot of family engagement still and a lot of focus on family engagement. And our PTI still offers supports to professionals who are serving our community. So I don't want to say that we can't do it. We just have to figure out how to, juggle that funding and who internally could support that if we can do it.
Understood.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you though for the suggestion, and we will definitely see if we can do it.
well, and it's helpful too, right? Because it's the chat you all were, I think you guys are bringing the whole thing alive, really, because it seems like everyone has really great ideas. Everyone has their own ways that they're doing things. And the way that maybe one county is doing something might be very helpful to another one, right? Or if, like with Rocky Mount, if you're having some struggles with something, maybe there's something that, Wake has an idea that can be helpful. And we kind of touched base on this, but so how are you recruiting your new members? How do you welcome your new members? When new members begin, who explains their role and responsibilities to them? So those are all questions that you want to ask, right? Are you using the LICC handbook? Do you need it? Because we would definitely be sending that over to you guys once we're done. Do you have any family participants? How did they find your LICC? Have you had any family participants that stopped attending? If so, maybe brainstorm, why do you think they stopped, right? How do you think the reasons could be addressed? So what can you do about them? A lot of you all mentioned COVID being a big reason. I think that affected so many things because everyone just kind of decided to stay away. And then on top of it, just like we just said, another meeting on top of things is just hard too. So how are you all maybe getting new members? Are you out in the community getting them? Let's see, Terry said something. That was something the state ICC was working on and it got lost in the pandemic. Okay, so
that was in reference to somebody looking for a newer version of the handbook. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll give you all a minute maybe to see, and this could be a time maybe where you can all give each other ideas too, right? Like, do you have ideas on how to recruit new members? Sometimes I always say people go, or family groups go to churches, right? Somewhere where the community it's trusted, right? So I know myself, I am Colombian and very about the church, well, North Carolina, period. But a lot of, families do that. That's where it's trusted. Families want to go where they know someone. So if they're hearing it from another family, anything like that is a great start. Let's see. There's also the juvenile justice meetings and infant mortality groups in all the counties. We have approached these groups to see who serves our population or has another staff person that was more in line with our needs. That's a really good idea too. Yeah, you all are the ones that are really in the trenches, right? So it's important for us to hear really what you guys are doing, how you're doing it. Oh, that's an awesome one. Library storytime groups can be a good place to meet family leaders. Absolutely. I work with care management for children, CMARC, and we may have some families that would like to be involved. But we'll take note of Bonnie there. That is awesome. Consistent participation is only 3 to 4 members who also hold the roles. We have developed rack cards that we are going to distribute to the members to share with the families. Perhaps this will help attract new members, especially parents. Interesting. What would you be willing to kind of share a little bit of that, Cheryl? Because I think that's really cool to, about the rack cards that you've created. Terry is.
There you go. She can unmute.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Carol from the Rocky Mount CDSA. I work with the Wilson County LICC.
Mm-hmm.
Those within our Rocky Mount CDSA. And one of our members, we decided that we wanted some literature to be able to provide for families so that they know about our LICC. I can actually took a picture of it so I can email it to the two of you all to share, if you can provide your email address.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Front side just basically talks about, hopefully one, so I can look at it. The front side just basically says who we are, what we do, and how parents and caregivers can help. And it's graphic, and it has my name and information as a facilitator if they want to know more. And then the back side of it is a list of family resources that are specific to Wilton County, but
Mhm.
statewide that families would need to access, such as Autism Society,
Mhm.
minor early hearing detection, early learning sensory support, etc. So this is something that's front and back. It's on good stock paper that can be in the health department, social services, anywhere that families go to access services.
That's awesome.
And one of our members put it together, so she did an awesome job.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like you guys got it together and have some great members too. Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely, I think Terry put my email in there. If you want to send that to me, we can make sure to send that out to the group.
Okay, I will do.
Thank you. All right, we got about 14 minutes left. So here we go. So some key components for successful family engagement. We want to ask about the preferred method of communication, right? You don't want to send a whole bunch of different things out. We'll find out really what the families, how they prefer. I know I myself, I don't want calls. If I have to have them, I'll take them, but I prefer everything through email. It's just kind of easier. Ensure that that main point of contact for families is the only one reaching out to families. So kind of what we discussed earlier, if there's that one person that's appointed for something, that's great because it just kind of, it keeps it in one place, right? It's not, you don't want too many hands in the pot. And it would also be great if that point person was also a family representative. It's not essential, but I think it just helps. And a few of you mentioned too, you have welcome packets. This would be a great thing to have for your families as well, whether that be in orientation, anything like that. But it's helpful to kind of set that stage for the family so they know what they are getting into and what they're about to be a part of. Let them know who attends the meetings, the names of the individuals, the roles, the organizations that are going to be part of it, so they can really understand the different organizations that are represented on the LICC. Before the meeting, maybe you can send, if you're able to, if you already have that agenda, send that out to the families before the meeting. So that way they are prepared when they come in. We discussed meeting times. I mentioned a little bit later, but definitely it's helpful. Also, if you have it in the day, it's probably even more helpful to have it virtual. I would say just work with your families and see what works best for them and for you as well, of course. Like we said, person, but also having in virtual options, that's great. Have introductions when you start. I think it's important to kind of set the stage that way, right? So have everyone introduce themselves. So these families also know who's at these meetings, have them introduce themselves. So they also feel like they're really a part of it too. Make sure that if anyone needs any sort of accommodations, that you kind of ask those in the beginning as well. You want to make sure that you're prepared for anything like that that might come your way. One big one for me is, and it may be for you guys too, but especially if you've been working with your LICC long enough or just in this field, I always say that we function off of acronyms. And it's kind of just like a different language to someone from the outside, right, coming in. So try to really explain things in what the words are and not just kind of like that quick acronym, because before I started working kind of in this field, it's been a while now, but I knew what nothing was, right? You just hear things like ECAC or anything like that, and it's just kind of like, it's alphabet soup. That's what most people, I think, call it. So just keep the language simple to just ensure that everyone understands what's really being discussed. And we discussed it too. Some of you said you have gift cards, different things like that, but try to really provide that participation stipend. Make sure to really explain exactly how they can receive that, and also when that will begin. It's helpful to really have that clear understanding. Now, the retaining and sustaining, right? You want to let these families know the impact of their efforts. So if a family is going to feel like their time is well spent and their participation is important and their efforts are making a difference, they're going to stay, right? They want to continue to help. Like I said, I myself, as a parent of a child with a disability, I want to feel like I'm included in making the decisions and part of it. And the more I am made to feel that way, the more I want to really continue to be an advocate and help in that process and continue participating. Share results and impacts. So ensure that the family see or hear the results of the projects or events that are planned. They're a part of your team, right? And you all are working together. So if there's something that you know that's happening, or you had a great result of something, or even a bad one, make sure that you're sharing that with them as well. Send them a follow-up email after an event, just with a summary of kind of like what took place. Discuss the event during an LICC meeting while they're there, or host a community cafe or panel discussion where community members can openly share their thoughts and observation about the event. The communication is key, I think. Ultimately, that's what it all comes down to, right? You want to be able to have that transparent, open communication with them. And it also helps to build that trust. Now, one of the biggest things I would say is the respect and value of your members. Treat your family members just like they're every other professional on the LICC. And I think, in my eyes, I mean, they kind of are the professionals. They are the ones that are out there living it, dealing with it. They know firsthand. So they're a professional in it in that sense. Respect their knowledge, their ideas, their creativity, value that, their insight, and really their lived experiences, because they're the reason why we're all doing this, right? To really just kind of help in making this all take place. Now, these are just kind of we're starting off as some resources. So family leadership is something that can look different for each family, right? Some families may feel that leadership is could be them attending an IEP meeting. That empowers them to really feel like they're a leader. And someone else may feel that speaking in front of Congress is what's going to do that. Regardless of the fact, as an LICC, you can build family capacity by really encouraging them to attend trainings and educational opportunities. I know a few of you actually mentioned that you have your families, or you have members participate in different trainings and things of that sort, going to other meetings. This right here, these are all hyperlinks, which again, we'll be sending you. But these are other organizations that in North Carolina that offer opportunities for families to engage with them, right? So have your family partners maybe attend these meetings. You can see, obviously, we have the Exceptional Children's Assistance Center there. You have Disability Rights, the Autism Society, which a few of you mentioned as well. Those are the family leadership training opportunities. There's also educational and training opportunities as well. Even maybe having them stay on different boards, right? So like we have our board, the ARC has a board. Let's see, hold on one second. Terry had something in here also. Yep. Use those LICC mini grants to pay for these kinds of things. Going forward, another agency will be managing those instead of ECAC, but they're still going to be available. Absolutely. You have those grants for a reason. So definitely use them for things like this, right? It gets your LICC more out there, right? And then you also make more of those connections, which is key. And that's what we want. We want to get more out there and really get more people involved. And then we just have some additional resources on here. we will which are all, so they're all incredible resources. The one that I helped explaining to you earlier, the Family Engagement and Leadership Summit, that that whole summary is on here. You have things from Head Start on here, OSIP, Early Childhood Personal Center. It goes on and on. They're really great resources for you to have. You'll definitely be able to take those with you. Let's see. Allison, what are MH, mental health SA, and DD reps? Hold on one second. Carrie has a question. And just email you. Thank you, Carrie. Hold on one second for me, Allison. Oh, wait, I think we are. Here we go. Dina's in here.
You got me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we have found to be real helpful is you have an LEA. I don't know if they've changed their names now or not, but anyway, the mental health group. So it's mental health, developmental disabilities, and the substance abuse counts for people that provide mental health services in your counties. And they have I can't think all those letters you mentioned now. I can't think of the SECs, and that's not right. SCEs, their system of care coordinator kind of people.
Mhm.
And the one that we deal with in Jones County serves about 15 different counties, and she serves on our LICC. So she's got a lot of irons and a lot of fires, a lot of connections, can connect you to other people, can tell you who has other things available. You know, if she doesn't know, she can tell you who to get in touch with, kind of thing. But they do like networking has never been done before. And just depending on what region and what county you're in, you'll have a mental health agency, a lead agency, that can help you with this kind of stuff, trying to find out, like, you know, getting your LICC going and who needs to be on there. But a member off of one of the either East Point and Trillium are the two that we deal with in this part of North Carolina. If you can get connected with somebody from there, and one of the systems care coordinator people can be on your LICC, you can have all kinds of connections and networking and people. So yeah, that's just a suggestion.
That's great. Thank you for that. And it looks like Allison thanks you too. So thank you guys for that. And that's really, I think, everything we have for you guys today. I hope you all were able to kind of get some information, great information from this, and also from yourselves. You also kind of planted a couple seeds in our heads. So I'm grateful for that.
And I just launched our evaluation poll. As you know, we are funded through the federal government and the state government, and we report back your satisfaction with our programs. So if you wouldn't mind telling us what you think about what we told you today, we would appreciate that. And we'll be able to report back. And I did want to say again, look for that email next week about the next LICC conference. We have a couple of presenters lined up, and then we do have some opportunity for networking for LICC members. So that would be a great opportunity to talk further about some of these topics we mentioned today. And then thank you about the idea for sending out the webinar chat. We'll definitely look into being able to do that. And we'll take into consideration being able to host some sort of a meeting on a maybe quarterly basis, maybe twice a year, for LICC members to just share these kinds of thoughts and ideas with each other. So appreciate everybody's participation today. Looks like we've got How do you access the LICC Toolkit Google site? So we did send out that link today. If it's not working, please let me know. We tested it, but we're the developers. So sometimes that affects our ability to see. We think everybody else can see it when they really can't. So if that link is not working, please let me know. But it looks like we got most people responding to the poll. So I'm going to go ahead and end that. And thank you again so much for participating today. It's really nice to see all of your names, if not your faces.
And thank you so much for all the participation. It was definitely, it made it a lot better with all of your input. And have a great weekend.
Yeah, and I did see that somebody asked to send that link again. So here, I'm sending it again. There it is. We'll send all of the links again in our follow-up email, but if you're just wanting to check it out right now, here's that link again. You're welcome. All right, we'll go ahead and end for the day. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.